Hey there, my fellow artists. Welcome back. Or if you're new here, welcome in general. I am Carrie Lynn M., a fellow artist just like you, a fellow painter just like you. And I am the creator and founder of Canvas Academy, which if you haven't heard about yet, Canvas Academy is an online painting and learning program that I created all myself to teach fellow artists just like you how to actually go about painting different objects, different landscapes, even full face portraits on your own from scratch and in either acrylic paint, watercolor paint, or sometimes a little bit of a mixture of both. So if you have not yet checked out Canvas Academy, I will link Canvas Academy in the description below for you to check out. But for today, I want to go over, in a little quick video with you, different surfaces that we can paint on. And I'm talking any type of paint, right? Watercolor, acrylic, oil, tempera, any type of paint. These are just a couple of different surfaces that maybe you haven't worked with before. But let's just go over them like one by one, and I'll kind of give you a little bit of tips and tricks on working with each one, whether they're, easy to work with or not so easy to work with. Some might work a little bit better with some mediums of paint versus others. So let me just share some of those insights with you. So our first surface, of course, is the classic, the iconic stretch canvas, which we probably, as artists, all worked with at some point or another. Stretched canvas is so versatile. It works great with any type of paint. If I had to rank it 10 out of 10, right? Stretch canvas, the canvas is really great because it has like tiny, like minuscule little kind of dotting features all over in it that kind of allows the paint, when you brush it over top that surface, to really stick and adhere to it really, really easily. And of course, stretched canvas is it's a pretty cheap item to acquire if you go to like a craft store or whatever. Hobby Lobby, heyo. Hobby Lobby is really nice because they sell them like in big packs of like 10 or more that you can get stretched canvas. And of course, they come in different sizes. There's different standard sizes of stretched canvas. You can get like 8 by 10, you can get 11 by 14, 9 by 12, 16 by 20. Now, as the canvas sizes get bigger, sometimes the price does get exponentially a lot more once you get past that 11 by 14 range. Sometimes 16 by 20 is not horribly expensive, but 16 by 20 is kind of like my preferred largest size. If I go anything larger than that, I have to add like a lot of a higher cost to my final product when I go to sell that piece once it's done. The larger canvases, or sometimes I like to call the canvi, like cacti, anybody? Sometimes it does get more expensive there, so that's kind of a downside if you want to do like a painting on a really large surface. Sometimes stretched canvas is kind of You can actually make your own stretched canvas too. I have never done it. I should try it sometime, but it's a lot easier just to buy the thing already pre-made, right? They do sell like the like burlap canvas, that you can make, that you stretch, and then sometimes they have like the wood planks, or you got to cut your own, that you can assemble and make your own stretch canvas of any size and shape you want. Another thing is sometimes canvas does come in special little like shapes and sizes. For example, here I've got like a bird that I did like on a circular canvas. That's pretty different if I do say so myself. So it can be a little bit more fun, to work with like a rounded shape like that if you want to. I'll just show you kind of quickly. I got this like stretch canvas in these like 4 triangle things. I got this like a couple years ago, you guys, and I have no idea what I'm gonna paint on it yet. But it's a fun shape. It's a fun, different kind of shape, and you can like kind of spread them out and make like a piece that's a little bit more just unique. I don't know how else to call it. It's just triangles, and you can get a lot of different shapes and sizes of canvas anywhere. The second type of surface that I want to talk to you about when you're doing any type of painting is paper. In paper, not all papers are created equal. You can, I always say, like on my Canvas Academy, when I'm teaching classes on there, that you can always just practice on like regular printer paper. It's no big deal, right? Sometimes with watercolor, it kind of soaks the page a little bit too much. That's why paper is not always the best option for watercolor. But if you're using a thicker medium of paint like acrylic or oil, then paper is a great way to just start practicing, right? Before you go and do something on a full canvas. It's a great way to practice your craft before you upgrade to the next thing. There's also canvas paper, and canvas paper I really like is great because it's just that stretched canvas, well, without the stretch. It's just that canvas without actually being stretched around a wooden frame. It's just, you know, just the canvas surface that you can practice on. And you can either practice on it or make like full pictures. Like if you can see over here, my eyes, they're Audrey Hepburn's eyes from different films. But that is a picture that I did that on canvas paper and then I framed it when I was done. So that's another way, because sometimes framing an actual canvas, like this one here, that I've got behind me with an actual frame on the actual canvas. Sometimes framing canvas can be really tricky if you're not good at framing it yourself. If you have to go somewhere to get it framed, sometimes that can be a little bit pricey. But if you do want a framed result, but you don't want to go through the process of framing a canvas, a stretched canvas, you can just paint on canvas paper and then get just like a typical like picture frame that's the size of the canvas paper. And then you can just frame it just like I did with those eyes right there. Now, if you do work with watercolor, they do make watercolor paper, which you can use watercolor paper for any medium of paint. It doesn't have to be watercolor, but they do make really high quality, high grade watercolor paper for practicing. Again, you can make the whole picture and then you can frame it just like I did with that one there. Now, another surface that we can work with when we're doing any type of painting is wood. Wood, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with. It's not the easiest thing to paint on. It does get a really nice result. You can either like buy like wood planks made to do paintings on. Sometimes they have those in the woodcraft section. Or if you're good with woodworking, you can make your own. Like I can show you here. This is a painting of Mount Denali I did a little while ago. But I did do this on, you can see from the edges in the back. This is a wood panel. It's essentially shaped just like stretched canvas. I feel like I'm the librarian having story time with the children, holding up the holding up like the picture book while I'm reading to all the children. But anyway, this is made on a wood panel that was made for painting, and it is shaped, I think it's an 11 by 14, so it's shaped just like, you know, 11 by 14 canvas. However, the surface of wood is typically very, very smooth. Unlike canvas that again has those tiny little minuscule dots all over the canvas surface to kind of give it that texture. With wood, it's just a smooth, straight surface, and so we don't really have a lot for the paint to grip onto, which is why I find it's a little bit difficult to paint on wood. I did do this in acrylic paint. I've never used watercolor paint on wood before, so I would have to experiment with that. But my guess is that the watercolor would not hold very well. I think it would soak through the wood a little bit. Acrylic is a little bit thicker bodied and it might sit a little bit better than watercolor would. However, if you really want to achieve like a watercolor look on wood, you can always, and I teach this method all the time on Canvas Academy, you can just water down your acrylic paint just a little bit with some water and then brush it over the surface. And then that gets that watercolor effect without, you know, using traditional watercolors. I can show you, this is another example. I did this on like, this is like crafty wood something, I don't know, that I got at Walmart. Heyo, shout out Walmart. And it did come with like this like twine on it so that you can kind of hang it up. And I did this like little owl painting on here. I didn't fill the whole surface because I wanted it, you know, to look not really framed, but I still wanted it to be like in the center of the whole piece. And again, you can see on the back that it's kind of like that other one. It's got like that edges. So this is kind of made like for painting on. But again, wood, I would say probably not the best for watercolor. Works okay with acrylic. You gotta do quite a few different layers before the paint actually sticks to the surface. And I would figure, I don't really usually work with oil or tempera paint, but I figure that they would kind of work in the same way that acrylic does. So it just might take a couple of layers to get your paint to really stick on there. The next surface that I want to cover is glass. Glass works, right? Now, I give it a 10 out of 10 for the look of it because it's gorgeous when you see a painting on glass and the light can like shine through and stuff. However, I give it like a 2 out of 10 for how how fun it is to paint on glass. Glass is, it's a lot similar to wood, but I would say even more difficult because it's clear, and when you're painting on a transparent surface, it's kind of trippy because you can see straight through your paint pretty transparently. Plus, just like the wood, it's very smooth on the surface, so your paint really does not like to stick to glass. So you really kind of have to dab, and again, this would not probably work for watercolor at all, but with acrylic, oil, tempera, I use acrylic because I'm an acrylic girl, you really have to kind of layer up and really, you kind of have to dab your brush to get the paint to really stick to the surface of the glass, and you have to do things a couple of different layers to start building it up. You can't just do the whole painting at once like you would on canvas and expect it to look gorgeous. You kind of have to do like one coat of paint as a layer, do another coat of paint as a layer, and then come back and kind of really fill in the details and stuff of whatever you're painting. Because again, it really needs to be layered for the paint to kind of start to stick to that glass because it's so smooth. However, here's a tip. If you do want to paint on glass, I would recommend putting some type like white sheet of paper or something behind the glass so that you're not, holding it up to the light and seeing straight through. You want it to be kind of opaque you want the surface to look opaque while you're painting on it. I used to do, I had some candy dispensers that my dad had made and I put them on Etsy. And for some of those dispensers, I did paint like little M&Ms because they were kind of like dispensers you could put M&Ms in. So I painted like my version of the M&M characters on the glass. And how I did that is I put like a sheet of white paper on the inside. It was a mason jar. So I put like the paper on the inside of the mason jar so that I could really see what I was doing and it wasn't like I was seeing straight through my work as I was painting it. Now, if you have a lot of trouble with painting on glass, here's a tip that I recently discovered. And I do this when I do my pet portraits on those mason jars too, that I took the design of that candy dispenser and I turned it into a pet treat dispenser. And I will leave a link to this item on my Etsy shop in the description below, you guys. But essentially what I do now, instead of having to paint directly on the glass because it is very finicky and it takes a long time to work with, I will paint on clear sticker paper, which it's still kind of the same. The sticker paper is really smooth as well, but it's not as smooth and also not as rounded as that mason jar surface. So I will paint my picture on clear sticker paper, and then I will cut my painting completely out, and then I will adhere it to the mason jar, and then from there I will add some extra details like while it's on the mason jar, and I'll kind of clean up the edges so it doesn't look like just a sticker slapped on a jar, right? That's a little bit of a behind the scenes thing for you, but that is a really good tip if you want to paint, if you're having trouble doing something on the surface of glass, especially if it's warped glass like what I was working with. You can just paint on like clear sticker paper, cut out your design, and then adhere it to your glass. Our next surface of what we can work with when we're doing painting is walls. Literally, the wall. This could be like a wall if you were to like do a mural outside. I've never done like an outdoor mural, but there are some artists that specialize in that. Or a mural that you kind of make in your own home, say on drywall. Behind all of these paintings I have behind me, you can probably see a little bit of some cutouts and stuff in the blue paint here. I actually have like a city skyline mural painted on there. It's very cool, but I've had it on there for quite a while, so I got a little bit tired of it, which is why I've added all my paintings on top of it, but I still kind of like how, you can see some different pops of color behind all of the paintings. So when you're painting on a wall, specifically on drywall, it's actually really similar to painting on canvas because the texture of drywall, it is kind of got a little bit of a roughness to it that allows, again, that paint to stick. I think the bottom line of learning about all these different surfaces is if it's a little bit rough or it's got a little bit of texture to the surface, it's going to be easier to paint on than just a straight smooth surface. It always is. So painting on the wall is pretty similar to painting on canvas. If I were to rank it, I give it an 8 out of 10 because unlike canvas, to paint on a wall, you have to paint like it's straight up and down, right? You can't just tilt the canvas a little bit like you would if you had it on an easel or if you had it like on a desktop, a tabletop, it would be flat on the ground. Well, not on the ground, but on the table. So you do have to paint like in a vertical kind of manner. You can try any type of medium of paint when you're doing things on the wall. However, with watercolor, I would take care because it will probably drip. Because again, we're painting vertically, which is why, again, if you want to get that watercolor look on the wall, but you don't want it to drip, try using acrylic paint and just add a little bit of water. Just water it down slightly so that you can kind of smear it across, you know, the wall, wherever you're working with, and it'll get that sort of translucent watercolor effect, but then it's not going to be so thin that it's going to drip. But if you want a drip effect, of course, you can just like splatter watercolor all over the wall and watch it drip, and that would be pretty cool too. So our last surface that you can paint on, not really so much a surface, but a way to make a surface out of anything, because you guys, you can paint on basically anything, especially with acrylic paint, which is why I love it so much. But to turn any surface that you would like into a viable surface to work with, you can use gesso. And what gesso is, it's essentially a very, very thick white acrylic paint. And what you do is you take that gesso and you put it over whatever surface you want to paint on. And after it's dried, it's going to create like a texture and a surface that's really similar to stretched canvas, right? That stretched canvas, that's the easiest thing in the world to work with, which is why I love gesso so much. I will show you here, that I did. This is of my absolute favorite movie scene of all time. It's the ending of Breakfast at Tiffany's. And I used gesso to make this painting happen because what I did was I had this giant, it was burlap canvas, not like traditional, like the white type of canvas. And my sister had given this to me. It had some type of saying on it about like friends are the best family. I don't know, something about friends. And she gave me this because she said she didn't want it anymore and she was going to throw it out. And she said, well, maybe you could find something to do with it for your art. So I got very creative and I painted over the sign part in the center of it with that gesso, but I left a little bit around the edges so it kind of had that framed look. Then I had it was just basically like a big canvas that I could just paint on, right? So my advice to you is if you want to make a surface out of literally anything, just put gesso on it. If it's something that's not working for you, if you can't get it to look how you want, just put gesso on it. The other thing though with working with gesso, it is white. Anything you put it on, it's just basically going to turn into like a white canvas. So that's why you might not want to use it. Say if you were like, why can't I just put that on glass and like then paint over it on the glass? I mean, you could, but then you would have that white showing through on the glass. So, but in any case, those are our 6, I believe, different surfaces. Gesso is kind of not really a surface, but it's a way to make anything a surface that you want. So all of those surfaces you can use, implement in your artwork, make different paintings with them, and just get really creative with it. Let me know in the comments below if there's like any other type of surface that you'd like to paint on that I didn't mention. I'm sure there's others, but I just didn't include them. And also comment what your favorite surface to paint on is. And I hope that I will paint with you all very soon, either here on my channel or over on Canvas Academy. So until then, my fellow painters,